This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, Bruchim Habayim. Welcome everyone to Kilas Avos Yisrael, Purim Tish, Shin Pei, of course with Reb Kali Posen, and as always, Reb Daniel Schick. Last year we said over from Reb Daniel's grandfather, but we can't do that every year. So today we want to say Chidush Noira V'Atzam. Zeresh.
The Menuchas Asher was actually my grandfather. The original Menuchas Asher.
The Menuchas Asher.
Change it up.
The lovely wife of Haman, Zeresh, she gives a good eitzah to Haman. She says, Uva boiker emor lamelech. In the morning, tell the king, V'yislas Mordechai Elav, and you're going to hang Mordechai. Listen to the words that she says. She says, in the morning, emor lamelech, say to the king. What do you mean, say to the king? He's the king, you're a servant. So maybe she should say, ask the king, request, petition, suggest. What do you mean, say to the king? And then, further on, Haman comes, V'Haman ba el beis hamelech hachitzayna leimar lamelech. He's going to the king to tell the king what to do. What does that mean? He's going to tell the king what to do. Okay, let's put that aside for a moment. We know there's this idea that on Purim, the G'dolei HaChasidus tell us that since Kol HaPoshet Yad Noislim Loi, since whoever stretches out their hand, we give them. We don't ask, show me your shtar, show me your haskama, show me your hamlatza. We just give them, no questions asked. We don't do any investigation. So too, there's this idea that whatever we ask of Hashem, Hashem accedes our request. There's this concept that Purim has an incredible yom of tefillah. That Kol HaPoshet Yad, Hashem doesn't say, show me your repertoire, show me your ma'asim tovim. No, whatever we ask from the Rebbeinu Shalom, the Rebbeinu Shalom gives us. There's such an idea. Purim has this kayach hatfilah. Rav Asher Weiss says that's like it's like wishful thinking. Oh, because every little ani that comes by, we give them, so we would like to think that Hashem just gives us whatever we want. It's a nice idea, a nice concept, but it sounds a little bit like we're willing this idea to be, but what's the basis for such an idea? Back to Haman. Zeresh says, say to the king to hang Mordechai. Haman is going to say to the king. What's going on over here? Says the Shem Shmuel. He said this the night of Purim, Tov, Reish Ayin Zayin, 1917, in Sachachav. My grandmother was the daughter of the Sachachav Rav. My Alta Zayda was the Rav of Sachachav. The Shem Shmuel was the Rebbe. So this was a little bit before his time, but my grandmother, I think, saw the Shem Shmuel. And the Shem Shmuel says as follows. He says that in the times of Purim, the tables had turned so greatly. The Koyach HaTumah was so dominant. The Koyach HaTumah was so strong. Hashem gave so much Koyach to Haman that we find in the Megillah. And the Gemara Megillah says on the pasuk, "Vayasem es kisai me'al kol hasarim asher itoi," that Haman made a bima above the bima of Achashverosh. That Haman literally, somehow, the Koyach HaTumah was given so much strength that he's even higher than Achashverosh himself. In fact, the Gemara says that when Mordechai cried out, "Vayizak tzaka gedola," Mordechai said as follows: "Gavar malka ila mi malka tata." That Kiviyachol, Haman is even stronger than God. So Mordechai said, "What's going on over here?" So the Shem Shmuel brings down, in times of Purim, things turned so much. The Koyach HaTumah was so powerful that Haman was greater than Achashverosh. Haman was greater than Kiviyachol. The Rebbeinu Shalom empowered. It was the Sitra Achra was out of control. Haman could go to Achashverosh and tell him and order him, be poiked him, be mitzaveh him. So if everything was v'nahapoichu, everything flipped. So on the flip side, if Haman could be mitzaveh the king, so too, if the Koyach HaTumah was so dominant that it could control Kiviyachol, then after V'nahapoichu, the Koyach HaKedusha is so strong that we could Kiviyachol go to Hashem and say, here are my orders. I want this. I'm mitzaveh this. If Haman had that capacity, then when the tables were turned, we have that capacity. Says the Shem Shmuel. You ready for this? Umikan kol ish maskel yasm aliboy. Let every intelligent person place his heart. Heyos beis Haman nitein leEsther. Once the house of Haman was given to Esther, v'napoichu, and it was flipped. Uv'chol Purim misar reshima mizeh, and every Purim this koyach is aroused. Ka yesh koyach b'chol ish Yisrael leimar lamelech ma'achem lachem hakadosh baruch hu. Every Jew has the ability to say to the King of Kings, derech amira, as a statement, v'tzivo, in a command, like tzaddikim who are goyzer and Hashem's oiseh, that we could hang Haman, wipe out his name, and but we have to do it in a way, we're going to have to command Hashem to do it with the same cheshek that Haman commanded Achashverosh to hang Mordechai. Imagine that when Haman came to Achashverosh, he was doing it with relish, with cheshek, with ratzain. If we daven that way as well, we have the koyach with our tefillos. So that's a pretty awesome ability that the Rebbeinu Shem has endowed us with. Again, this explains why we have this koyach tefillah. It's sort of a flip of what Haman was able to do to Achashverosh. Let's add one nekuda. This is from Rav Asher Weiss. Gemara says in Masechta Shabbos, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave us the Torah in Har Sinai, and what did we say? Thanks or no thanks. We're not really interested. Hashem said, take the Torah Shebechsav. So we said, we'll take the Torah Shebechsav. But we don't want to listen to the rabbis. So Hashem said, no, either listen to rabbis or I drop the mountain on your head. So we said, okay, fine, we have no choice. So the Gemara says, Mikan moida rabba lo iraisa. This is an opt-out clause for the Torah. In other words, if the Rebbeinu Shem comes and tries to punish us, we could say, who are you? You know, why are you forcing us to be, why are you punishing us? We never wanted the Torah. But the Gemara says, Hadar kablu b'mei Achashverosh. Ultimately, we accepted willingly in the times of Purim. So the question is, Hashem takes us out of Mitzrayim, He splits the sea, and what do we say to the Torah? Thanks or no thanks. And Hashem gives us man in the desert, and Hashem says, you want the Torah? No thanks. Hashem splits the Yarden, you want the Torah now? No thank you. Hashem helps us conquer 31 kings, you want Torah now maybe? So Klal Yisrael says, don't call us, we'll let you know. And we're in Eretz Yisrael like 1,000 years, not until we fall to a low madrega in times of Purim, and then we're endangered, and Hashem saves us, then we're Makabel the Torah b'Yahava.
What happened?
So what happened? Apparently, we reached the madrega. Rashi says, from the Ava of the Nes, where we say to God, Na'aseh v'nishma l'Torah sheba'al peh. Whatever you ask of us, even if we don't even know what it is, yes. The answer is yes. 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 Whatever you want. Hashem, whatever you're mavakesh mimeno, whatever you ask of us, we're willing to do. Any bakasha on Purim was the day that we say to Rebbeinu Shalom, whatever you ask of us, shalmai dabai, ask whatever you want. We're willing to do it. So it's mistaber that midah keneged midah. Rebbeinu Shalom says to us, so kinderlach, whatever you ask of me, I will respond in kind. I will likewise accept your request. Can we end off with one thing? One little chiddush. Remember the Gemara in Megillah and Daf Zayin? The Gemara Megillah says, how do we know Esther was said Baruch HaKodesh? Amar Shmuel ihavoy hasam hava amina. I'll prove to you Esther was said Baruch HaKodesh. Shenemar kimu v'kiblu kimu lamala masha kiblu lamata. They ratified in Shamayim what they ordained down here. Meaning, this proves that Esther was said Baruch HaKodesh. Hashem says, what you write downstairs, I will stamp upstairs. Kimu lamala masha kiblu lamata. They ratified Esther. Esther wrote a book, and God said, put it in the Torah. So Tosfos asks, how could you learn from Kimu v'Kiblu? Kimu lamala, Masha Kiblu lamata, right?
You already learned from it.
Right? Kimu lamala, Masha Kiblu lamata. Tosfos asks, well, we already learned from it, what? Kimu, Masha Kiblu kvar. That the Gemara in Shabbos says that at Kabbalas HaTorah, we're makabel the Torah barachamim uveratzain on Purim. So we have a stira Is it kimu lamala mashakibla lamata? Is it that the Rebbeinu Shem ratified in Shamayim what Klal Yisrael wrote downstairs with Megillas Esther? Or is that Klal Yisrael were makabel, or they ratified what Hashem gave them previously? So it's a stira. So what do you want to say? So Daniel wants to say that this is similar to what we were saying before, that these two ideas really go hand in hand. I once heard from somebody, he wanted to say, when we saw the great love Hashem has for us, that He is willing to ratify, we could learn Torah downstairs, and Hashem is willing to be makabel it as His Torah. We see how much love Hashem has for us, that Hashem is willing to say that what we wrote, the story of Purim, Hashem says that's part of the Torah, so Midah Keneged Midah, that elicited our love for Hashem to be makabel Torah B'Rachamim. But Daniel wants to say no, the other way around. Since HaKadosh Baruch Hu saw that we were makabel the Torah B'Rachamim of Aratzain, and we said, Hashem, this Torah that you're imposing on us, we're accepting it willingly. So Midah Keneged Midah, Hashem says, Esther, the book that you want to insert into the Tanakh, I'll accept that and I'll ratify that. So the two drushas go hand in hand.
More so, what they will be makabel by the Yidden accepting Esther and the kind of Sefer of Esther, they were showing that they have a Munas Chacham, and Melech Kadosh Baruch Hu was being makayim what they were makabel also.
Okay, good. Rabbi say all your tefillos should be neskabel, barachamim, v'ratzain, shkayach.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.